This is a little bit spur of the moment, although I've been preparing for this. I need to look at the camera for a while. I wanted to share with you some things that I learned, or really everything I learned after my first season as a market vendor for the White Rock Farmers Market in Dallas, Texas. The next season starts tomorrow, and I've been going through to make sure I'm prepared, which I'm not really yet. In any case, but I've been going through and getting my thoughts together about what I learned that I can implement this coming year. It was a great market, and I hope that you have markets like this near you that you can participate in if you are so inclined. I made some notes here, so I'm going to refer to them, and I want to talk about getting ready for the market sort of well in advance of a market. I'm not going to talk about finding a market. Maybe that could be another topic for another video later, but right now let's assume you found a market and you're going to participate in it. And let's say you're brand new, and maybe you're just now getting your stuff together to sell. So I really want to encourage you, first of all, to choose a business name, even if it's your name plus the word creations or plus the word crochet or craft or whatever. Just choose a name so that you look together. You don't even have to have a logo, but you can go onto Canva and make a logo. I mean, they've got ready to go logos there. I've spent a lot of time on there a couple of weeks ago because I'm redesigning mine. But to have a business name, so that you look together. You might need to get to file a DBA, or a doing business as, with the state. You might have to pay sales tax. I'm not giving anybody any legal or financial advice, but check into that to see what your legal obligations are. Get all of those ducks in a row. I do file sales tax, and I got my sales tax and use permit from the state a couple of years ago, so I feel like I'm in compliance with everything here in Texas, at least. And know whether you're going to have a website, and sign up for social media, or be prepared to publicize your personal social media if that's the only thing that you're using to promote your items, unless you just really want to stay super low key. But if you want people to be able to reach out to you after the event, or if you want to be able to promote the event and your appearance at it appropriately, then you need to be findable under the name you want people to recognize on the internets. So I have a website. I've linked it below. I've got to update my inventory. That's on my to-do list today. And I am on Instagram, and I am on Facebook, and I've forgotten if I'm other places right now, but okay, so I am, well, obviously here on YouTube. So just decide where you need to appear online and how you want people to reach you. You can even just set up a pretty cheap landing page if you're not wanting to develop a whole website. So those are pretty affordable to do, as a matter of fact. But places for people to go and find you, and then print that out, or at least have a QR code printed and in a frame at your booth if you don't want to be handing out business cards or papers. You can print out a QR code for free with the links to where people can find you, and then people can scan the QR code with their camera app at the event and then have an instant connection to you, and then it's up to them to save it. So let's see what else. Decide the payment methods that you're going to take. Maybe it's just cash is king. Have a sign up that says cash only. You can take cards very easily by getting a Square card reader, and that's the name of the business, is Square, and you connect that to your phone. And I think it can connect direct to your bank account, or maybe it goes to PayPal. It's been a while since I've used Square, so I forgot. But decide on your payment methods, or if it's just Venmo or PayPal, have all of that in a sign and make it easy for people to do. If you take Venmo, if you take PayPal, again, have those QR codes there. Print them on a piece of paper, put them in a frame, put them at your booth so that checkout is seamless. Now, if you want to go to the next level, and you have a website, I use Shopify. I've put their link below. It is not an affiliate link. It's just that I've had a very good experience with Shopify as a small business owner and as somebody that sells items. Shopify has its own card reader, but also their point of sale app is included with your subscription to Shopify. And so for the first few weeks as a vendor, I just use the point of sale app on my iPad. Now, then that meant I had to type in people's credit card numbers by hand, but it was okay. And it could connect to the products that I already did. My phone freeze? I got a low battery notification. I might have to plug my phone in. I'm going to do that while I talk. I'm going to plug in my phone so it doesn't die. All right, here we go. Yeah, so talking about being prepared. All right, so hang on, pardon my hand. Thanks for your patience there. All right, so Shopify, you can get a card reader through them. I think mine cost about $60, something like that. People like to chit chat with you at checkout. And so I eventually got a card reader so that my attention could be on the person. And people appreciated that. I didn't have to be focusing on typing the card number. I really could just either tap or insert their card, and I paid attention to make sure it was going okay. But this vendors or markets are great places of personal connection, and you have a lot of lovely moments with people. And sometimes you're checking them out and they're telling you a touching story about their grandma, and you don't want to go, do that. You want to give them your attention. So the easier you can make it, if you're able to invest in a card reader and go through your formal website, that's good. But don't let that be a barrier. You do not have to do that. But just think through your checkout process and the types of payment you're going to accept, and go through that in your mind so that within your limitations, you're able to give as much direct attention to the person in front of you as possible. It's really beautiful when people come by your booth at a market because they appreciate you, they appreciate your hard work, they want to connect, they want to talk about their grandma, they want to talk about what's going on in their lives. And if the checkout process is one that allows you to stay connected with them and not have to break it, it does a lot for you. And those little touches bring people back to your booth week after week. I have people that come see me every single week that I'm at a market, and maybe they don't always buy something every week. How many hats does a person need, right? But they come by and they say hi, they tell people about me. So I know that, this is talking about like a checklist of things, but it's really all about personal connection and making sure that everything you do, to the QR codes, to the payment methods, to the signage, is about you being able to maintain a personal connection as a human being with the person in front of you. That is the underlying principle under all of this, is how can these things enable me to connect with the person that comes to my booth. So, if you can make a logo and it makes people smile, gives them a sense of your personality, that kind of thing. So I've talked about your business name, getting your ducks in a row legally, whether you need a DBA, sales tax. We've talked about printing out or having at least an assign, your payment methods, your business name, how to reach you via social media. The other thing is to be thinking about your target market. And this will be adjustable over time. And I had a vague idea of my target market at the beginning of last market season, and that's become more refined. I know that I'm looking for moms mostly. A lot of young women who may or may not ever be a mother also really connect with my stuff. But I'm thinking about other moms, whether they're about to become moms or they've already raised kids, and how they want to make more beautiful what is around them in their home, on their bodies, to people whom they love, that kind of thing. So I am thinking about those people when I decide what I'm going to have at my market, when I decide on what I want my logo to look like, when I decide the setup. I'm imperfect at all of those things, but it's a work in progress. So be thinking about the person you really, really want to reach, and you'll reach other people. And perhaps you'll find over the course of the market season that you need to adjust that. It's not initially who you thought, but start with a target market, and that will help keep you focused. And then you can decide on your inventory. The number one thing with inventory is, make what you like to make. Nobody else is your boss. Make what you like. Do you really enjoy making a lot of small items, medium items? Do you really enjoy particular stitches? Things can look similar. Do you really enjoy working with particular colors, particular types of yarn? Because that helps to develop your brand. Make what you like. I have a big sign by my booth that says I only make things that make me smile, and that's mostly true. I have made some things that did not make me smile, and I'm putting those away, not going to make those anymore. So make what makes you smile. And focus on original designs if you can. Now, I did about half and half original designs and other designers' designs at my first market. And you're going to have products that take off and products that don't take off, and you just figure that out. I made a lot of things I'm gonna have to just undo because I thought they'd be big hits, and I made a lot of them and then nobody bought them, or just a couple of people did. So then you decide on your inventory and understand you're guessing. Who knows? And also from market to market, you're guessing. I've had some things sell at one market, sell out almost, and then nobody touches them at other markets. You never know. It's all a crapshoot. So I'm going to take a sip of coffee to recover from the idea of that. If you're in Dallas, I get my coffee at White Rock Coffee. It's the best. I get house blend. It's really the only coffee I drink. Okay, thank you. All right, now, let's see, we talked about checkout process. Okay, so another thing to think about with your checkout process is that you want to decide in what lovely way you want to package up your items to send them off with their new owners. So you need to have a variety of bag sizes possibly. You decide, are you going to use tissue paper to wrap your items? If so, how big does your space need to be? Are you going to put a little sticker on the outside of the bag or on the tissue paper? I do. It's quick and easy. I have a little sticker that's actually a photo of a coaster I made that I really like the colors of. I stick it on the outside of the bag. So decide and then go through the process, at least in your mind, and maybe just imaginary right in front of you, of packing up different size orders. Think through, do you have the right bag for this? What if they buy several items? What's the size bag for that? How does the item go in the bag? Does it look nice when it goes in there? How, decide to what level you care even. Some people will decline a bag. They're already carrying around bags. They don't want one. But you've got to be prepared to send your items off in a lovely way so that when you hand it to them, it feels like a gift, even though they paid for it. Then talk about whether you're going to accept custom orders. If you do accept custom orders and you want to encourage them, have a sign up. I take custom orders. Ask me about custom orders. Email me about custom orders, whatever that is. But people may ask whether you have a sign up or not. So have a notebook or stand there and email them on the spot. Ask for their email address, email them if you need to talk further, or you can go ahead and take the pre-order. If you already know that you can make that shawl in this particular color pink and you can have it to them in 4 days or whatever it's going to be, take full prepayment up front. Have in your mind how you will take the pre-order, how you'll connect with the client, take the payment if you can guarantee a deliver by date. Because I'm telling you, if you arrange for a custom pre-order and then they walk away and then you buy the yarn for that and you spend the time and then they ghost you, then, if you're at peace with that, okay. But if that would really bother you or put you in a bind, you need full payment up front. That's my rule, full payment up front. Then if I feel like I can be flexible, I'll offer some amount of flexibility with it. But the rule is pre-orders, full payment up front. All right, so, and then let's talk about your pricing. Price your items what they're worth, and that's a lot of money. It's higher than Target. That gives you flexibility to offer deals. Somebody might ask for a deal, and you can say yes or no. Somebody bought 2 chunky blankets of mine. I had them on sale, or I had them for sale. They were a lot of money, and I wanted to sell them. And a woman said, will you cut me a deal if I buy 2? And I said yes, and we worked out a deal, and she hoisted those huge chunky blankets over each of her shoulders and carried them to her car. I'm very impressed that she did that. Pricing your items high enough gives you some flexibility to go down a little bit if you feel like it, but it also honors the other vendors at the craft fair who need to sell things at a higher price point than at the grocery store or at Target or another big box retailer. You and also other crocheters on the World Wide Web. It drives me crazy when I see a crocheter make something and price it at like the cost of their yarn plus $5. Like, you're working for nothing, and that hurts other crocheters. So price your stuff high. I usually go to Etsy or other places online and see what independent crochet artisans are selling a similar item at. I make sure it's similar size, similar type of yarn, similar complexity in the pattern, and then I price my stuff at the high end of that, if not even a little bit more. Again, it makes me, then I can give discounts if I want, and then people feel special. But most people don't, a lot of people don't want a discount. They're there because they know your worth and they're willing to pay it. So price your stuff high enough. Look what things are going for amongst other independent artisans. All right, so now I'm going to talk about your booth layout. This gets complicated, and in fact, I have to redo mine. I got to do a mock setup maybe in my backyard later today because I'm changing my booth layout a little bit. So I really love that my layout a 10 by 10 tent in an outdoor event, and people could come in. I didn't set up a table at the front. I set my table at the back where I sat, and then I put a table on one side and some shelving and a garment rack on the other side, and then a couple of tables at the front, so that people walked in, and you know what, with all these crochet items around, it kind of felt like it was my home and they were stepping into my home. One lady told me, she just talked to me for a while standing there, and she said, I don't know why, it just feels good to talk to you. And then at another market, a guy said that it just feels good talking to you. And so I think it was just because I just wanted the setup inside the booth to feel at home, and so that people were drawn in. So unless you don't want that, like if you want the table up front and you've just got a few amigurumi, did I say that right? Amigurumi? I remember it by amigurumi. That's a hard word for me to remember. I don't make them. That might be why. At your table, that's fine. But if you have more to sell and you really want to engage your customers, then make your booth a little bit like your home, a little bit like your living room, so that they want to step inside and they feel like they're stepping inside a little bit of a different world, and it's a haven from outside. And so with that in mind, put your most stunning items up front. So on one corner, I always put a big chunky blanket, and I mean, hundreds and hundreds of people will stop, not in one market, but over the market season, hundreds of people stop and gasp at it and look at it, and they might feel it with their hand. They might motion to whomever they're with to come look at it. They talk about it. I mean, most people won't buy it because it's over $200, but that's okay. They stop, and then they look into the booth because they've been so enchanted by this one thing. And then I have a gorgeous red shawl that I also put on a dress form at the edge of the booth. People stop at that because it's eye-catching. And then I put anything seasonal, like when I start making the crocheted water balloons, I put those in a bowl of water up front, at least the display ones, and they really catch people's attention. So put eye-catching things at the front of the booth, and then people are drawn in. What other little treasures could she have in here? Eye-catching things at the front. And then if you can, put like-minded things together, of like use together. Anything used for the kitchen, put in one area on the table, and give ideas, for, like if it's a coffee cozy, put it in a coffee cup, and then have the coffee cozies have little cardboard fake cups in there, so people have an idea of that item in use in their possession. When you move on to wearables, maybe stuff just for the head, scarves, little granny square headbands, ear warmers, and hats. You've got hats on hat stands, that kind of thing, so people can see it and envision it on their head. If you're selling hats, it's a good idea to put a tabletop mirror there. People definitely want to see what it looks like on their head. I definitely got sales by having a mirror there so people could see what the hat looked like on them. So group your like items together and have them in a way so that it's easy for people to envision them in their own possession, on their own body, in their own home. This year I'm going to add, I think, a full length mirror in case somebody wants to throw a shawl around their shoulder to see how that looks. So try, think about that if you want. I have to see if the mirror I have in mind will fit in my car. Don't overclutter. I did overclutter last year a little bit, and now I've realized I'm not obligated to have one of every item in every color for everybody of any style. I'm going to declutter my booth this year and see how that goes. I will report back. But don't overclutter. And then people can ask, can you make this in a whatever? And then yes, you take a custom pre-order for that. Use your vertical space. I did get shelving, and also I got wire racks to hang from the top of the inside of the tent that I use, and I hang those with S-hooks, and then I use S-hooks to hang inventory on those. I use as much vertical space as possible. That way it's also easier for people to see. They can come in, things are all right in front of them. They don't have to sift through a bunch of stuff. They sifted through washcloths because I had those kind of in a stack, but be prepared for weather considerations. It did rain a couple of times at my market. One time it just sprinkled, and what I did was I bought clear plastic shower curtains and shower curtain rings, and I hung those over 3 sides of my booth, and that protected the items. When it was really rainy, I didn't go to the market because I couldn't risk my products getting wet. But be prepared for weather. If it's really hot, if you can get a portable fan that's battery operated, do that. Get hand warmers if it's really cold. And our market handed out hand warmers to their clients, and I was so thankful. It's going to be cold tomorrow, so I'm getting some hand warmers at Walgreens later today. Yay! All right, so in terms of, so we've talked through getting your everything set well before the market, your name and your legal stuff, and planning on how people can reach you. We have talked about payment methods, getting ready for that. We have talked about your booth layout, things I've learned that way. By the way, if you can affirm any of these experiences and you're a crochet vendor, or you had a different experience and want to offer a different perspective, I would love to hear about that in the comments, because this is only my perspective after only one season at mostly one market. I did 4 different markets last year, but mostly one. So it's based mostly on that. So let me know in the comments if you have anything to add to any of these observations, or would like to offer a different perspective. Now, in terms of getting yourself ready for the market, post a lot on social media in advance of the market. Post, a picture of you crocheting something. That's hard with 2 hands, so just, hold it, or have somebody who lives with you take a picture. Create a little mystery, a little mystique, and post some finished works that you're going to have. Really try to create a lot of excitement on social media. Tell people you're going to be there, and then people will most likely plan to show up. I did have a good luck with many friends coming to see me at the market. A lot of times your friends, even though they love you, they'll flake out. They want to stay in bed or whatever. But I was really pleasantly surprised how many people got out of bed early on a Saturday morning to come out to the market. If you can find out who the other vendors are and connect with them on social media, start following their accounts, start commenting on their stuff, start showing support, repost their stuff, tag them. I'm excited to be at the market this week with, hippos and hash browns. That's a real vendor at the market I'm going to be at. She makes these amazing biscuits and other baked goods. That's my friend Sandra. So tag other vendors. So I should tag Sandra today and follow my own advice. Get sleep the night before. I'm going to go to bed early tonight, even if I didn't, and I won't have gotten everything done for tomorrow, but I'm just gonna have to give up some stuff and go to sleep. I did a lot of overnights, all-nighters last year, and it was not good for my health. It made it real drag setting up. It was miserable, and I would go home and collapse. So I'm gonna go to bed early tonight. Try to get sleep if you can. There might be a couple times when you are up real late or have an all-nighter the night before market, but try to keep that at a minimum. And so that brings me to the next thing, is that if you're doing markets repeatedly over and over, the second that you get home from that market, make yourself a quick little priority list for what to get ready for the next week, so you can start getting ready for that right away, and you're not the day before your next market like, oh my gosh, I promised this woman I would have this hat there and it's not done, and you got to stay up all night. Don't do that to yourself. Get some sleep. Wear your stuff. If you're making wearables, if you're making hats, gloves, if you're making shawls, things like that, wear them, wear them, wear them, wear them. People think they're cute. I've sold things I've been wearing. If I'm wearing a hat, I've sold that same hat that's sitting there also on the shelf. So wear it. It also helps you vet your own stuff. Is this good enough to wear? Does it hold up? Does it feel good? Do I want to choose to wear it? You ask yourself those questions. If you don't ever choose to wear that, or you have to make yourself wear it, or if it doesn't feel good and you're just pretending, then your clients are going to feel the same way, and they won't be repeat buyers from you. So this helps you vet your stuff. And then let's see, dress for confidence. And so if your vibe is super casual, then be that way. If your vibe is that you need to do your hair and put on a little bit of makeup and wear cute clothes, be that way. My vibe is that I definitely have to have my makeup done. I feel more confident that way, the most confident that way. And when I'm more confident, I feel like there's less of a barrier. So be your maximal self at the market so that you have got confidence to talk to people. If you've ever gone to the grocery store and you run into somebody you know and you want to hide, don't be that way at your market. No, feel good about yourself, whatever that way means. I can't say what that means for you. Anyway, all right, so let's see. Also, be prepared mentally for your products to fail. Be prepared. Don't hold tight to and get your feelings hurt if you made a bunch of washcloths and they just don't sell. They might sell the next week, so be patient, but you got to let it go. Also, be prepared to educate your clients in love. People are having a hard time right now. The economy is crap right now, and if somebody makes a comment about the price of your item, some people are rude about it, but I don't agree with this thing of that we are the adversary of the people who come to our booth. I think that a lot of them don't know, or they're feeling stressed, like they want that hat, but why do I have to charge so much? So I just try to gently say, well, just the yarn itself costs what you might expect to pay for the whole hat at Target, and it took me however many hours, and I have other business expenses, and if I understand that you may not be in a position to buy this right now, but that's kind of why I have to price them this way, and it's more, it has more meaning. It's something that will be an heirloom for you if you take it home. So be understanding of when people have questions about the pricing of your products. We're not their adversaries. Some of them don't know, or some of them are just cranky that day. That's okay. They can be cranky. It's all right. And they just don't know. I do have a sign up, a big sign that I put up at the front of my booth in vinyl that I ordered from Zazzle. And the first sentence of the sign is, there are no crochet machines. And I suggest that if you crochet, you steal that. There are no crochet machines. If somebody's buying something that is crocheted, a person made it. Now, there are knit machines, but I would say hand knitting is much more valuable. And there are knit machines that make stitches that are made to look like replicas of crochet. And when I go into Target, for example, and I see a granny square hat, when I look at the stitches, I can tell it's not actually crochet. And if I can't tell and it might be crochet, then they use slave labor to make that hat. I'm sorry, they just used it. There's no way they can sell that hat or that jacket or whatever for that amount of money. And so there's something special about crochet. You cannot crochet on a machine. If they're buying something crocheted, it was made by hand. And it's very good for them to know this. It makes it special. If you can, go live at the market from your social media platforms, from YouTube if you can, or from Instagram or Facebook. Right before the market opens is a good time to do that. I like to, if I have time, walk through the market and kind of show the other vendors. There's like this excited vibe. All the vendors are setting up their stuff and they're hoping they're going to see all their regulars today, and everybody's smiling and shouting hellos to It's just cool. So you can share that with people who are just pouring their cup of coffee that morning, and maybe give them a reason to get up and get dressed and get out to the market. Then they can see. I don't know. It's fun. I have sold things by going live on Instagram. I did a live tour of my booth, and a couple of friends of mine saw something in the booth and they came out and they bought it. So anyway, it's very cool to do it. People love it. They smile and they send support, or they might share it on social media. Go see my friend Donna. All right, bring something to work on, but not something that you have to concentrate so much on. I will have 20 minutes or something without somebody in my booth, and so I'm working on something, and then people can see you making it, but don't look uninterruptible. I mean, I have one of those where I look cranky if I'm concentrating, so I have to focus on keeping a smile on my face and looking up and talking to everybody, when they come by. So bring something to work on. You can talk about it to somebody, especially another crocheter that comes in the booth, and that kind of thing, and people kind of like to see you doing your craft. So that's that. Be generous. Speaking of other crocheters, be generous with them when they come into the booth. I will share all kinds of stuff about stuff I've made, because I think more people should be crocheting. And people that learned but put their hook down because they got too busy or frustrated, I want to encourage them to do that. I will talk about where they can find the pattern I used. I will talk about where I got the yarn, how long it took me. I share stuff with other crocheters because I want them to do it. And people, you don't need to go, oh, well, she has no business knowing how I made that. I do not agree with that. I think generosity of spirit comes back to you. So when other people who participate in your craft come by, be generous with them. And then you know what? It's a beautiful connection. I've talked to so many people who were taught to crochet by their grandmas, and they really open up, and I don't know, I have beautiful conversations when you're open with people. All right, so I think the last note I have is don't pack up early. Thanks for hanging in there with me if you're watching this. Don't pack up early. Unless like you just don't see anybody for miles and it's hot and you're over it. I've made big sales at like 2 minutes before the end of the market. And my parents, who do other artisan type things, they're in Washington State, and my dad made a sale of like, I don't know, $1,000 or $2,000 right at the close of market, and they had kind of started packing up. So don't pack up early. A lot of people want to come to the market, and they want to spend their money. And they come and they've shown up late, kind of, and honestly, some people come just looking for something to buy. And hey, I'll take your money. I will. I'm happy to. So don't pack up early. All right, so these are the things that I've learned. All of the things that I used in terms of setup products and product containers. This is the live video. I'm not going to edit that. I've put links there. Some of them are non-affiliate links and some of them are affiliate links in the notes to everything I could think of that I use that makes my market easier to do. So take a look at those. If you purchase something through that link, it does help me. It helps me keep my YouTube channel going and my crochet business going. But in any case, at least take a look. I've tried to make notes. If you have questions about any of those, please let me know in the comments and I'll answer those. Again, please share your own experiences. And I am going to update if I have other nuggets of wisdom, and I'd love to hear your nuggets of wisdom. Thanks, friends. Thanks for tuning in with me, and I hope this video was useful to you.